Low-cost model introduction. So one of the greatest business hack that has been developed over the last 50 years was actually building more and more low-cost models, because they were actually also creating their own demand in many cases and changing drastically the market, disrupting it. So as you might have witnessed, there have been a lot of examples of successful low-cost models in many industries. So first of all, we have a lot of examples with airlines. So we have the Southwest, which was the original low-cost model in airlines, but it spread very fast to Europe. So actually we've got three big players, so Ryanair, EasyJet and Wizz Air, and many smaller. We actually also have the traditional carriers also adopting part of the model as well. Then obviously we have things like furniture, so IKEA would be a very good example, which has gone global. Then we have also a copy of the airlines in buses. So we've got the Irish Mega Bus that is also entering Poland with Polski Bus. And you can also witness actually the model working very nicely in Argentina as well, where they actually don't have any other public transport. And we obviously have it very persistent in retail. So we've got in Poland Biedronka, which is huge. In Germany, Aldi, and obviously the Lidl, which is all over the Europe, and it has been very successful. This obviously works in the grocery sector, so the daily purchases you do. There are certain important pillars that fuel a low-cost model and are important to know them in order to create a properly working low-cost model. So first of all, the simplified product and service. So in the case of the low-cost model, they usually give you fewer products or lower variety of the products. The services are not that strong as well. Usually over time it changes, so they add in new ones, but the starting point is always a simplified product and service. Then they usually operate over one type of asset. So to simplify the whole operations. So for example, you've got Ryanair, which has roughly 300 aircrafts, but one type of aircraft. And this is very consistent in every low-cost model. This is something which makes the model work nicely and much more easier than traditional ones. Then obviously you also have the better asset utilization. In the case of airplanes, for example, you are making 4 trips instead of 3 trips a day with the aircraft, which totally changes the economics. And on top of that, you create efficient process. So efficiency is the most important things, and they actually do a lot of small improvements that add up. So a little bit shorter here, a little bit shorter there. In the case of aircraft, they work through the whole process, and with improvements of 3%. In aircraft, they, thanks to these small improvements, they totally change the economics of the business. And it's actually improvements of from 1 to 10% on each and every area. Then it is important to notice that low cost model, they target only 80-20. So they don't go for the whole market. Well, whenever you try to go for the whole market, you get very complicated models, and they try to stay, with the 20% of the population or 20% of the customer that generating 80% of the margin. Scale matters. With low cost model, the margins per unit are low. So you really have to be big. And if you look at the successful low cost models, they are huge. Either they're the leader in a specific country, or they're even regional or global leader in the category they work in. And last but not least, something which ties in with each and every thing I've mentioned is the simplified operation. So thanks to everything which was mentioned here, so simplified product, one type of asset, better utilization, efficient process, the scale, and the fact that you target the mass market, you get much more simplified operations. So the simplicity and efficiency is something that fuels the low-cost model. Let's have a look at examples to see how it can work in practice.